Physical training can be hard and demanding. Sometimes can even be dangerous. But training is essential to performance. Paying the price always comes before winning the prize. Welcome to Mornings with Bishop Robert. Thanks for joining me on the top spot on the internet for Beverages with a Bishop. My goal is to introduce people to the Jesus they never knew, and then help them get to know him and his word personally and better. So if our time together today speaks to your heart, would you let me invite you to like, subscribe, and of course share with a friend. Having survived the Crucible, the concluding exercise of the U.S. Marine Corps boot camp, I understand a thing or two about difficult training. And I have sons and young men I've mentored and others that I know that have made it through some of the toughest training demands that various branches of the military can make. Fun? Well, that's not the first word that comes to mind when going through training like this. But that's okay, because the goal wasn't fun. It was rather to be trained, disciplined. The writer of Hebrews never went through the Crucible as a Marine recruit, but he obviously understood the concept. He said, no discipline is enjoyable while it's happening. It's painful. Oh, how right he is. But even in the midst of pain, we do well to remember the pain is temporary, but the training is permanent. There's an outcome to be achieved, and it's the outcome that's worth the painful training. No one I know goes through disciplined training with the goal of enjoying pain. That's ludicrous. But everyone determines to go through such discipline because of the end goal. Now, some discipline is corrective. It's given with the intent of changing a behavioral pattern, breaking a bad habit, crushing a sinful tendency. This sort of discipline is intended to stop certain behavior from recurring. The end result in mind is we stop weakening ourselves. Now, the other discipline is prescriptive. This is the sort of discipline that's entered into with the intent of, adding knowledge or skill or experience. It's the sort of discipline that's intended to build new and needed behavior into the life of the trainee. The end result in mind is that we're enabled to do something we couldn't do before. The best discipline uses both of these approaches. It prepares men and women to face battles in life that must be won. They're existential. Our very existence hangs in the balance. And we need to be willing to embrace discipline that's lovingly, though painfully, delivered so we can see both elements occur within us. The elimination of those things with which we're destroying ourselves, and the learning of the new skills we have to possess in order to win the victory. It's always too soon to write off a man or woman of God who's been surrounded by the enemy and has fallen into sin. When proper discipline can be lovingly, though painfully administered, and embraced, it will lead to great deliverance and further fruitfulness. Peter denied that he even knew Jesus. Barnabas and Mark abandoned Paul. The early prayers of St. Augustine, he said, Lord, make me pure, but not yet. The list of men and women who have failed Christ includes everyone who's ever attempted to walk with him. Everyone, including you and me. Some of our failures and sins are more public, but none of us has done it perfectly. Discipline, embraced and internalized, allows for incredible change. It's seldom an undertaking that can be accomplished alone. Walking through a process of correction and training with a loving accountability partner multiplies the impact and the effectiveness of a disciplined walk. I've got half a dozen men I meet with regularly for this very purpose. Hey, one final story will illustrate today's point. In November 1950, U.S. Marine Corps Colonel Chesty Puller and his 2,000-man 1st Marine Regiment were surrounded by 160,000 Chinese troops at the Chosin Reservoir. Puller radioed his headquarters. He said, "We've been looking for the enemy for some time now. We've finally found him. We're surrounded, and that simplifies things. He told his men, don't forget that you're the first Marines, and not all the communists in hell can overrun you. We're surrounded, so we can shoot in any direction we want. Well, the Marines survived because they were a well-disciplined and well-trained fighting force. They trained themselves for the task they knew they had to face because they knew it was an existential battle. You know, our verse today continues by saying, but afterward, there will be a peaceful harvest of right living for those who are trained. We who are charged with the task of winning the world to Jesus Christ face an enemy horde. Take a look at society and you'll see they are well entrenched, well hidden, and well prepared. Open your eyes, church, and look around you. We've been looking for the enemy for some time now. We've finally found him. We're surrounded. And that simplifies things. We need to embrace the discipline that has corrected us, directed us, and prepared us for what is ahead. No one of us is perfect, but any of us can embrace discipline and training and become the best we can be in the battle. And don't forget that you're the army of God, and not all the demons in hell can overrun you. We're surrounded, so we can move out and minister in any direction we want. Are you coming? Hey, before we get to the end of our time, let me ask you to help me introduce people to the Jesus they never knew and help them get to know him and his word personally and better. Would you please like this video? It really does help more people see it. Then click follow or subscribe so you and I can get together every day. If you click the link in the description, you get a free copy of my book, Count to One. And of course, one more thing. Please share this with a friend. Because as you do, you're part of the team, touching hearts all over the world with the love of Jesus. Thanks for helping.